Mahlangu in Johannesburg.
Africa Update with Lulu Kapu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Well, today on hashtag Africa Update, Zimbabweans in the diaspora have expressed concern over the happenings in their country. Now, our question, what is the best action for them to take to ensure the situation improves in Zimbabwe? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes on +27 83 288 6684. Hashtag Africa Update Us.
Africa Update on Channel Africa.
A group of officers in Nigeria are set to face a military court after being accused of plotting to overthrow the government of President Bola Tinubu last year. The 16 officers were arrested last October after what was described as acts of ill discipline and breaches of service regulations. The case emerged amid heightened regional sensitivity to coups in West Africa and ongoing security pressures facing Nigeria's armed forces. And to discuss this further, we are joined on the line by Nigerian lawyer, writer and activist Douglas Ogbankwa Esq. Douglas, good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon, Africa.
Now, just how effective are military courts? In Nigeria. In Nigeria.
Well, to start with, I think the military authorities in Nigeria are actually misconstruing the law. Nigeria is not under military rule. Nigeria actually is in a democratic setting, and treason is actually a crime created by the Nigerian Constitution and the Criminal Code. So the military courts are not the proper forum to try the suspects. Reason being that this is not, if it were to be like a military personnel trying to overthrow another military government, then the military court will be imbued with the requisite jurisdiction to adjudicate over this matter. However, following the return of Nigeria to democracy on the 29th of May 1999, the jurisprudence has changed. So the precedent that was being attempted, the attempt to overthrow was to overthrow a civilian president, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So strictly speaking, though it was being carried out by the military, it is one that should end up in regular Nigerian courts, because the Nigerian Constitution has imbued on the Federal High Court the exclusive jurisdiction to adjudicate over matters that pertains to treason. So military courts actually are not the proper forum for those alleged coup plotters to be tried.
Now, let's talk about these cases that they are facing. Has there been information been made public with regards to the exact crimes that they committed and, of the alleged coup and when this was supposed to happen?
Well, the information is actually available on a sketchy basis. When they were arrested towards the end of around October, on about October 2025, the military itself denied that there was a coup. As a matter of fact, they indicated that they were being arrested for service indiscipline, whatever that means or meant. However, just a few days ago, the Defense Headquarters, through their communications department, issued a statement and stated that indeed there was an attempted coup and that they had carried out investigation on the culpability or otherwise of the persons who were arrested or pinpointed over the attempted coup, and that the persons would appear in court. That not much has been said about the operational plans of the alleged coup plotters. And you will know that in Nigeria, the last time such a news ever came up was around December 1998 under the government of General Sani. December 1995, sorry, under the government of General Sani Abacha. That was the last time we heard of an attempted coup in Nigeria.
Now, the latest development it comes at a time when the West African region has experienced a resurgence of coups. We'll look at countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Guinea. Now, these have all seen their governments toppled by soldiers. What can this be attributed to?
Of course, this is actually the geopolitics of the Russians, the Americans, the EU, and the Chinese playing out in Africa and West Africa, to be very, very precise. So you would recognize that a lot of these other countries you have mentioned, like Niger Republic, Burkina Faso, and Mali, are pulled out of the ECOWAS. The ECOWAS used to be, which is the Economic Community of West African States, used to be a regional bloc made up of about 15 members, formed on the 28th of May, 1975 in Lagos, Nigeria. The ECOWAS had been able to establish a free movement protocol and what's close to like a free trade zone. But however, with these coups that have taken place, that has broken the symmetry of trade and movement in the West African region. So to answer your question, these military coups or attempted coups may not just be local in nature. They may have international geopolitical implications.
Well, because of time, we are going to have to leave it here, Douglas. But I'd like us to have this continue this conversation at some point and just go into more detail. Thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update.
Always a pleasure to be on Channel Africa. Have a blessed afternoon. Bye.
Thank you, and to you too, Douglas. That's Nigerian lawyer, writer, and activist Douglas Ogbankwa Esq joining us on